Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Mayor Byrne,
Here.
Trustee Williams, Trustee Schwartz,
Here.
Trustee Schultz,
Here.
Trustee Markwart,
Here.
Trustee Cook,
Here.
Trustee Hebda. We have a quorum.
All right, we have a quorum. Everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mike, the flag is tripping over the pipe.
Starboard.
Guys,
Starboard.
What's it doing?
A state flag.
we'll get them later.
You really want
It's
me
like
to
it's
do
hanging
something
itself.
that I'm gonna regret.
Where's Ted?
There you go.
Where's Ted?
Okay.
So
Now we have the flag.
they announced you don't.
Is there any citizens that wish to address the board? Unfortunately, I don't see any citizens at the meeting.
press either.
No. And they never come to budgets. These are too important. Approval and passage of resolution 2013-033, opposition to governor's proposed reduction in local government distribution fund. Where's the last,
Well, what you have is.
is that it
I
here?
added a few things, Mayor, from.
Did you add the thing about the SEC?
It's in here.
All right. And that was timely. Oh, that one? I like going.
It's on about the.
I just had a comment or another possible addition.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Well, because it goes on for paragraphs about how they're very short-funded, which basically why they're asking us for the money, but I guess I maybe have something in there that says that they need to make their own cuts and manage their own budget and do some trimming before they come looking to the villages for
Yeah, before
for money.
they dig into our pockets.
I don't know, just a thought.
Well,
We could put something if you want to, something like whereas, the state of Illinois, needs to, look at their
Their own.
existing budget for, I'll think of something, existing budget for reductions. Because I don't think I would guess you want to encourage them to raise more revenues.
No.
Yeah,
I want them
so-
to cut the fluff. I want them to cut the fluff
Yeah.
before they come looking to us.
Not fluff.
But it's true, absolutely. I haven't seen where they're cutting anything yet,
I haven't heard a thing about
other
that.
than our taxes, municipal taxes, refunds.
well, for those that will eventually watch at home, what we're talking about is, this is was part of Governor Quinn's proposed budget for 2013, 2014. Maybe it's just 2014. And it dealt with the local government distribution fund. Well, in essence, that's like income tax that we all pay, everybody sitting up here, everybody in town, everybody throughout the state. And our return last year, I believe, was $88 per person / per capita. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Initially, it was thought that they were going to reduce that by $18.70, and that would have amounted to some $469,000. Is that correct, Larry?
Yes.
So now, I don't know what happened, but now it's $11.70 per person?
That's what the IML is now saying. I think it was, yeah.
Is that what the
or I think-
governor's saying?
I think, I'm not sure we've gotten an impact analysis from the governor.
Okay.
All
Right.
they're talking about
Yeah.
is not, including the increase in income tax going to us, any growth in income tax.
Okay, so if it drops to $11.70, it's what, $229,000?
288.
It's about 288.
288.
Which is what the estimate, like, IML, that first number I gave you, which is
Yeah.
over 500,000, I think, that was based on a preliminary estimate, you know, like hours after the governor's speech. And then they took a look at it a day or two later, I think it was, and gave that lowered
So the range is gonna be somewhere between the
288
$11.70 and 18.
That's what IML estimates right
Okay,
now.
all right.
But as
Well,
Larry
anyway-
said, there wasn't any number,
What
submitted by
this
the governor.
resolution states is what we, you know, we would actually use if it's 400 and, is that in here? Is that in here, what we were gonna use the money for? I thought we had
Yeah,
that in
for
for
three
three
police
police
officers.
officers and
officers.
blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
I gotta go up the top, okay. But, okay, 288, 800, that's, you know, would affect, the salaries of 3 police officers, which we just hired. So, you know, that would take that off the plate. And, you know, the 469,000, I believe, you know, obviously would affect, you know, our ability probably to just, you know, go into the operating budget or possibly pay down some debt.
So
Larry,
basically,
you can talk. This is okay. You can talk.
Well, yeah, I'm, obviously we're coming in with a balanced budget, and if we drop 288,000, we're just coming off a period where we've had to extend the life on our vehicles. We've had to reduce our full-time employees. We're now at 101, but that's partly because of the funds we're getting from our partners on the dispatch center. So we're down about 15 people from where we were when we went into the Great Recession. We've
Yeah.
extended the life on all of our equipment beyond what was intended. We haven't made an substantial IT investment other than in the dispatch center in the last 5 years. So, you know, basically, at a time when we're finally able to do things that we've been deferring for years, this would slow down that whole, or would stop all that progress, and we'd have to look at more cuts.
Well, you know, and just the back step away from the curb, how many hundreds of millions in dollars does this impact every town across Illinois? Well, come on. you
Wasn't
know.
it 240 million or something? You know,
Well, that-
I don't remember all
That
the
might have been
numbers
at
right.
the
It's huge.
$18.70.
Yeah.
but
so-
every town's gonna have to
Yeah,
try to cut
yeah,
the
this isn't
budget,
just us
but,
that'll
yeah.
be
Oh, no, it's gonna have a
shorted, you know,
yeah.
the 280,000 or the 469. This is across the board. It'll affect,
Isn't it amazing that our little town can find a way, even though it's cuts, to balance our budget and the state can't?
well, that's
Isn't that amazing?
That's ongoing.
Yes,
Uh,
that's why we got in this predicament.
I don't disagree. So with that said, you know, again, this is monies that come back to every community in the state of Illinois. So, all right, is everybody on board with sending this resolution out
Yeah,
to our state reps?
Motion to approve.
Wait, wait,
Do you want me to, do you want to whereas added, here it is, I just threw this together. Whereas the state of Illinois needs to reduce all unnecessary expenses prior to any reduction in state revenues to local governments.
Good.
Fine.
Motion approved, that addition.
There's a motion and a second.
And then a third.
Any other comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Cook.
Aye.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
aye,
Trustee Williams. Trustee Hebda. Mayor Byrne.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, obviously, our only item after this is to go into, unfinished business, none. New business and communication, trustee Cook.
I just thought I'd comment on, I heard a figure tonight that the St. Baldrick's thing at the mall the other day was going to raise over 15,000, and I just want to say we had, at least, for the most part, had a really good time. And it was, I mean, there were a lot of people there. It was a fun event. The DJ was good, and I'd like to thank Sharon Joseph and her family for all of them doing that and the money they raised, and Officer Jim Cook for the excellent job he did putting together, and all the police department that worked on this project, because it's for an excellent cause. And it's my understanding that the final number will be over 15,000, so that's good.
Yeah, it was a special event, and obviously there's 3 people up here that you can call amigos or / stooges, since we probably fit that image too, that participated, which it was a wonderful thing. It was a worthy cause. It's for, childhood cancer research. So, if I give you one of the handouts, you better make a donation. You don't want to see me in public for a few weeks. All right. So with that said, yes, it was a very nice event. And any other new business or communications to come before the board? If not, is there a motion to adjourn the board meeting and go into committee of the whole to just discuss the 2013-2014 budget?
So made. Second.
Motion is second. Do we have to go into closed session?
No, sir.
All right. Motion is second. Roll call.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Trustee Hebda. Trustee Williams. Trustee Schwartz. Trustee Cook.
Aye.
Mayor Byrne.
All right, motion carries. I'd like to call special committee the whole meeting to order. Where do we want to start?
Mayor, can I have, do one addendum for VHAC? Just, not an addendum really, but just related to our budget, and to add something to what Dave talked about a week ago. And this is on the village doing the infield maintenance this year, and I just want to make clear, we're planning on that, and we're buying the equipment and hiring the 2 temporary employees, along with, it'll be coordinated by Tom Bretman, one of our engineering technicians, who's really been involved in it the last couple of years. The equipment and I just wanted to go through this with you. We're going to buy a John Deere Gator, for transporting stuff to around the facility, and that's about $7,500. Then we're going to buy a Rascal, not the kind that you need to be ambulatory, not that kind. It's a field Rascal, and then that's $4,390, and it has a drag, and that's specifically a piece of equipment made to drag the field and with the tines and everything,
Okay.
so that you do a good job, and and you don't have that problem with the earth spilling off into the grass, where you have those kind of problems. And then finally, and we need to talk to you about placement of these, but to buy 2 shipping containers. We're not shipping anything anywhere. These are going to be semi-permanent out there somewhere in the Pinwheel area. They'll probably be about the size of the one at the Metro lot. But we need to talk about, we'd like to over time look at maybe screening. They're going to paint them so they're nicely painted, some color like a tan or a beige or something.
Where you can put these, just one?
Well, we're talking about 2 of them. One would be for the equipment we're talking about, and then the other, the Cougar's materials, because now you've probably observed this. I know Trustee Markwart has. In the concessions building, it gets crammed all full of stuff, and we should really leave that for more, the concessions and just a few items, and store stuff out in this container.
Yeah.
So anyway, but those are the 3 items. So I'm going to go ahead. We don't need approval for it. There's enough money in the budget to do it, but I wanted
What do you
to,
charge for, I mean, it's like a container that's
on a ship. They're not getting the long ones. The semi-size one It's the
Right.
one shorter than that. What is the semi-set, 55s?
Yeah, they're smaller than that.
Containers are standard at 20 and 40 feet.
Yeah.
So you're talking about 20-footers.
Yeah, okay.
So what
Okay.
do those go for?
26?
Well, the two of them are 45, 35 he got. And because he wanted ones that were, come on, Mike.
Seaworthy.
Seaworthy, so they were waterproof. That's what I was thinking of, the W word. Waterproof, and that were in good condition, that they're paintable, and we wouldn't have them looking bad
Yeah,
immediately.
that's a very fair price. They're
Yeah.
usually about 5 each for the
Is
40-footers.
this gonna be, mounted off the ground in some way or lift?
I'm not sure if they're gonna put a concrete pad in or not. But, yeah, I would think that some way you wanna try to not have it rust from the bottom up, so somehow you have to
Yeah.
get them a little, of course, that would take a long time, and hopefully a building will be built by the time they really rust out,
Exactly.
so.
Yeah, we'll all be long, long gone before those deteriorate, because they're designed, to be in a sea environment with sea salt.
water
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And it's just fresh water out there, so far, so. But anyway, but I just wanna let everybody know that, so if there's any questions, we can.
All right, we have to start where at?
Well,
Go ahead, Larry.
I'll mention that items I and J in theory are non-controversial because they involve the capital budget and the MFT budget, which Dave already reviewed. But Dave's not here tonight, and so if there are questions in too much depth, I think we defer on that till next week.
What's the per capita on that?
On MF,
$60-some or?
oh, no, it's a lot less than that. Let's see. It is, for, mo- for mo, for motor fuel tax, it's $24.10 is the IML estimate.
Okay.
And that's been stable to actually going down over the last few years.
So the state isn't tapping that?
Not our share, no.
They are issuing a bond issue, right, in an attempt to, well, that was one proposal, I should say, that the state wanted to pull together some excess money, not from motor fuel, but I think the increased amount of money they received from income tax to issue some highway funding bonds. I'm not sure that, that is part of that funding that they're talking about doing soon, that they didn't proceed with in January because of what they heard, I think, from different bond houses.
Well, that was $5 billion.
I'm not sure if that was that large an amount. The one
One
I'm
of them
thinking.
was $5 billion.
Yeah.
And they
well,
walked away from it because
Right.
the interest was gonna be ridiculous.
Yeah, I guess I'm just talking about the one piece of that, the highway piece or whatever they were talking about doing. You asked about motor fuel. So,
I'm sufficiently confused, but,
well, that's just a.
well,
I'm not saying
you're
it's
not, you don't
final.
really know what
Right.
they were gonna bond out is what it.
I don't know the total, but I know a piece of that was the highway.
Okay. All right. Well, all right, which fund we going to?
So,
that we haven't talked about yet.
I'd say let's go ahead and proceed to item P, Community Events Fund, and we'll go sequentially and then circle back if we can at the end.
Which one?
Item P, P as in pie,
Sorry, K and I?
and that's the Community Events Budget, page
Well,
130.
what are we doing with K? Anything?
K, let's see.
Or is that Dave?
K is the VHAC, and actually, that's a very simple budget, which I probably should explain. As we've discussed previously at the committee of the whole discussion, the rationale for the VHAC fund disappeared when District 128 repaid that debt. So basically, what I'm proposing is budgeting it at 0, and all the VHAC expenditures are going in the capital sub-fund, and it being 0 and essentially really ceasing to exist from this point forward.
That was easy.
Yep.
Okay. And what, all right, so I is okay, or
No,
He's gonna
Save
come
that.
back to
For
I and
Dave.
J.
Okay, Dave.
K is,
And L is the Metro sub-fund, which again, a big piece of that is the parking lot, but there's also the operations of the Metro train station, and that, you know, again, one of those things that if the questions get too detailed, it's really questions for Dave. And then the other budget that we did not address last time that I'm saying let's circle around back to is the replacement fund, item N, which is replacing some building vehicles and a couple of, the major piece of that is a couple of trucks in the public works budget. So again, I'm saying let's circle back to those when we're done with the other budgets, and possibly we need to discuss it next week very briefly.
All right, okay, which one are we gonna discuss?
P, the community events budget on page 135.
Okay, and then followed by summer celebration.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Okay.
Your Honor, the community events budget this year is projected to increase 3.8% over the previous year's budget. What you will be seeing this year is, for the Arbor Theater, a decrease of 4.3%, although this was related to reductions in printing and other costs similar to that. We have included an additional show in there, so there will be 5 shows this year instead of 4. Secondly, the light show funds is projected to increase 4.4%. The primary increase in this is an increase in electrical power costs, remembering that a large portion of this is offset by the purchase of tickets during the event. The third item is the fishing derby, $4,500. There's no change in that. The fourth item is for 4th of July, which is $40,100, and that again is projected to be no increase in cost. Remember, that assumes that the Park District will donate an additional $1,000 or $6,000 for the evening's music entertainment and stage. And
Where do we plug into fireworks?
well, there's fireworks with regards to the 4th of July. There is no projected increase for that.
summer celebration.
And then under
Is that in the 40,000?
yes, sir, it is.
How much is it?
24,000.
Okay, so for the parade, it's 16 grand.
Summer celebration,
Correct.
12,000, the other.
Okay.
And that includes monies for bands that come in from out of town. The Park District also purchases a band to participate in the event.
So for $24,000, we get 24 minutes?
No, we usually get somewhere around 20 minutes. Again, remember, for 4th of July, you
Right.
pay a premium for fireworks, so.
And then how many minutes do we get for summer celebration?
Somewhere around
Do the prepaid for
14, 15 minutes
Okay.
at most. That's where your 1 minute comes in, plus or minus. If we don't blow up all the fireworks on the 4th of July, you get more, so to speak.
Okay.
No, what do you?
This year, we're projecting for summer celebration an increase of $1,000 for the fireworks. That has not increased in many years. And then finally, the Oktoberfest budget is projected to increase approximately 15%. The increase actually reflects the annual cost that we had last year. There were several costs that were unanticipated, and then we're also anticipating some increase in costs related to tents, porta potties, and some of the entertainment. So with that, I can answer any questions that you might have.
One question I'd like to propose, or with the 4th of July, we attempted to have patriotic music presented with the fireworks. It didn't quite come off because I think we got, it played Coming to America 3 times in a row or whatever. And then we had a gap, and then we had, so whatever it takes to, if we have to hire maybe a professional DJ or something, or work, you know, more closely with the Park District's band so that we get a full multimedia event.
We'll talk to them about that. When you begin to talk about synchronizing,
It's not synchronized.
well,
I'm not saying it needs to be synchronized, it just needs to be
understand,
a tape that
Well-
is, whatever, 24 minutes long.
of
that-
different songs.
Yeah, of music that's appropriate for the 4th of July.
Can Mike handle it?
Understand. We can definitely talk with
Yeah.
them about it.
Yeah.
Looking around the corner at us, so I think we should let Mike.
Or maybe.
Brings
maybe
back
get up.
fond memories of, who is it, Garrity in the business park? There's a company in the business park, if they're still there. They used to do Disney World's laser light
Oh, yeah.
show.
Yep, yep.
And they used to, synchronize, we tried to do that one year, and that,
No.
no, yeah, that
wasn't
was
a
money
disaster.
that wasn't well spent.
Right.
Because you need buildings to
Yeah.
bounce the lasers off of, and then trying to synchronize the music. I don't know. It was like, So, yeah, the tape. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just,
All right. Yeah, get a tape that plays 24 minutes.
right.
20
Yeah,
And
we'll
not the
Oh,
same
God.
song
We'll figure it out.
12 times.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So the total event budget would be $138,540.
Motion to approve.
Motion is second. Roll call.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
Aye.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Hebda. Trustee Cook.
Aye.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Mayor Byrne.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. What we got?
Next is item Q, the summer celebration budget, which is $158,600. Basically, the budget is increased $21,700 for 2 reasons. One is $13,000 is an actual increase in entertainment costs, and $8,700 is really just a review of how we've spent on the accounts in the last couple of years and what the levels for the budget needed to be. We also revised the revenue estimates upwards based on the results of what we've seen over the last couple of years. And this budget, the summer celebration has about a $47,000 balance, and this budget projects taking that balance down about $7,000.
And recently.
Do we have
In-
something different in mind for music, that it's going up 13,000?
Yeah, the band Saturday night's more expensive, as we talked about a few months ago.
Who are we getting?
Blues Traveler, which I think is at 32,000 plus their rooms. So that's a little higher than we've spent in the last few years after we cut back. We'll
Well,
probably
yeah,
be,
Except the other
Grab
groups on
separate.
Friday night, and we pay for Thursday night, right?
right. Thursday night
Thursday and Friday
is
night.
very modest
Yeah.
cost. Friday
Are we
night
doing anything
escalates a
on
bit.
Sunday?
Sunday, we're now gonna try to get a band $500 to $1,000, something local. Because we talked about it at length, and we figured
Right.
if we have an empty stage up there, first of all, they're not gonna take the stage down on Sunday morning. So you're gonna have an empty stage, you drive by there, and
Right.
guess what? It's like nothing's going on. So we're gonna have a band there. The committee wants to end about 7 o'clock on Sunday. So we'd have a band play 4 or so till 6:30, something like that. maybe. And then we're gonna try to have a lot more family-oriented activities on Sunday. Ramp up the, you know, the petting zoo and some things that kids can do on Sunday. And then I should say too, we're not gonna be, Trustee Schwartz, we're not gonna be at this number for entertainment. If it all comes in the way we expect, it'll be more like 50. So it'll be like 70,000, yeah, 7,000 less than what's in the budget, but we'll see.
What if we do $2,000 bands though on Sunday? If you're talking starting somebody that early,
Well-
letting them play till somebody else play till 8 and just.
Yeah, I suggested, usually, as you know, Sunday night, the crowds are pretty thin.
I know.
You know, so we were even talking about starting out at 4 o'clock. Of course,
Ah.
the problem is with the weather, you know, it's like you're standing out there and it's 90 degrees out. And,
You don't want to start that.
yeah, so, no, we talked about doing just one band at 5 and then have events under the tent during the day, like children's events, and ramp that up somewhat more. But,
Okay. We'll see how it goes.
yeah,
All right, so what's the budget for this year then? 158?
158,600.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
So made.
Is there a second? Second. Motion is second. Any comments or questions? If not, roll call, please.
Trustee Schwartz,
Aye.
Trustee Williams, Trustee Hebda, Trustee Cook,
Aye.
Trustee Markwart,
Aye.
Trustee Schultz,
Aye.
Mayor Byrne.
Aye, motion carries. Okay.
Beer tappers.
Next is item R, which is the general purpose budget. That's of $1,354,054. It's a decrease of about 25% from last year. And what we have added to this budget is basically 21,716 for fringes, recognizing that we're paying fringes for people on a disability pension, are paying the village share right now. We have 15,200. This is for tourism promotion. This was previously in hotel motel, which we zeroed out since we became home rule, because we're no longer required to use hotel motel for tourism promotion purposes, so we no longer have to track it that way. Debt service is $1,128,000, which is basically more than $500,000 down from last year. And that's because later this month we will retire the final payment on the 2002 VHAC bond.
Now, how much was that bond?
That bond was, it was about $4.5 million. Let me see if I can get the, that was the second of the two VHAC bonds. It was originally for $4,595,000. And we're paying the final $480,000 of principal plus interest later this month.
Okay, that leaves how much? I mean, in VHAC bonds?
We currently have outstanding, let me see. Right now, just under 3 million. Later this month, we'll make another 275,000, and at that point, will be about 268, 2 million.
And we're getting that close to being done with VHAC.
Right, and that was originally a $5 million issue. So we've paid off almost half of that bond and all of the other bond.
So there were 3 bonds?
No, there were 2 bonds. There was refunding involved.
Right.
I don't want to complicate it too much, but basically there was a bond for $5 million and a bond for about $4.6 million. The bond for about 4.6 million will be completely paid off the end of this month, and the bond for 5 million will be about halfway paid off at the end of this month.
Good.
But they're separate, that doesn't include the road.
I am pretty certain.
The
it-
road, Fairway,
Oh, Fairway, I'm sorry, no, it doesn't include Fairway.
yeah. Because Fairway adds what, another 4 million?
Well, Fairway was, the road for Fairway was not bonded. We matched it, I mean, it was mainly the state. I can't remember our share. It was, I think, about a couple million, 2 to 3 million, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
But we paid that out of cash at the time.
Okay. So okay, I just want to keep it clear in my mind. We're into the overall improvements to the Nike site, $12 million total? Or
Well,
am I missing
we-
like sewer, and water, and other infrastructure?
We bonded 9.5 million. I know we did some other improvements, but not anywhere, probably less than $1 million in terms of other improvements. I don't think it topped 10.5 million total. But of course, I'm talking about all the, that included in that is all the roads within the Nike site, the parking lots and so forth. But
But it
that,
didn't include Fairway.
right, did not include Fairway.
So your 12 and a half million is a viable number if you include Fairway.
Because that includes our portion for the intersection and Fairway Drive.
Call me.
Right, right,
Because the intersection wasn't cheap.
right, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
Well, we own it now.
just wanna, happy totals.
The other, let me see, the other pieces of that, we have 60,000 for contingency, and the final item is 120,000 is a transfer to the TIF fund. Basically, the general fund is required to provide a 10% match to TIF revenues every year. And while this represents a 29% increase over what was actually budgeted, it's only a 14.7% increase over what was actually received in TIF revenues this year. We received over $1 million in TIF revenues this year. And then we had to match it 10%.
Okay, any comments or questions from the board?
Just that overall, this general purpose budget is down by 25%.
Right.
That's a ray of sunshine.
No, it's great.
Well, yeah, that's not, yeah, okay.
And
that's fine.
that's largely because we were paying off that last debt payment this year.
That's nice. Good to see.
And if we could get the rest of the TIF district built out,
Yeah.
we could make
Yeah, it's
some prepayments on that fund also, that bond.
We just gotta make sure they do it right. Okay, is there a motion to approve $1,345,000
And
So made.
and $54 for the general purpose budget?
So made.
Motion and a second. Any further comments or questions? If not, roll call, please.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Hebda. Trustee Cook.
Aye.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
Aye.
Mayor Byrne.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, what do we do, S?
Yeah, just a quick statement. Last year, actually, after the committee of the whole, after we confirmed after we passed our ordinance for the hotel motel tax, making it not related to tourism, we ceased having a need to basically track hotel motel to prove it was required for tourism promotion. So accordingly, I'm just noting that that's a zero budget.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Totals, but we're still collecting the tax.
right, we're still
Where are we
collecting.
plugging that into the general
Well,
fund?
basically, everything that was in hotel motel, we've moved into the general purpose. We used to divide up our debt service between the VHAC debt, which we consider promotion of tourism, and the non-VHAC debt. And we also have some items for, related to tourism promotion, such as the contribution we make to the Lake County Convention and Visitors Bureau, and that's within the general purpose budget.
400.
Yeah, what is the percentage, is per room that we charge? 5%, 4%?
It's a 5% tax.
And that generates how much money?
It generates, right now, probably about 320,000. Back a few years ago was generating over 400,000.
Okay.
And it's low, it was generating about 250,000.
Well, and obviously, we haven't added any rooms.
What was the percentage?
What do we have, maybe 500 rooms in town?
Yeah.
It's 400 plus. I
Yeah.
think we looked at 420, I want to say, or something
Yeah,
like that.
that's,
Okay, so, and what's the ceiling? Now that
On
we're home rule.
percentage, that you
Now that we're
can-
home rule, that we can charge.
we'd have to check. Larry, do you know the percentage
you
max?
know, I'm under the impression that 5% is the ceiling, but I'm not 100% sure of that fact. Yeah,
We can check.
I'm 5% sure about 100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also,
Well,
one
well,
other
why don't you
thing-
do this? Why don't you check on that? And I'd like to also know, at some point in time, where potentially we could add a village tax on like food and beverage. I'd just like to know what the percentage would be. Because I think though, if you're home rule, I think I know you can do it and, you know, restaurant, food and beverage. And I can't imagine you can't increase it from 5% on a hotel room.
Yeah, we'll have to check. The food and beverage, I think we'll double check that, but it's what, 1/4% increments, I believe, that you can
Right.
put it on.
And-
But we'll.
Or can you go, yeah, I'd like to know that.
Yeah,
you know-
let's check it out before we speculate,
Tied into some other, you know,
Areas.
larger rebate agreements we're getting involved in.
I catch your
I assume everybody understands that
Get your
comment. Okay, Larry, I won't forget this assignment.
Okay, I won't either.
All right. Okay, what's next?
Item T is the administration budget, and John, do you want to?
Larry and I will tag team this one. The overall budget for the upcoming year is projected to increase 4.3% over the current year. As you know, the administrative budget includes the general administration, the manager's office, the finance department, and the cable studio budget. For the general administration budget, the proposed budget is projected to decrease 16.7% over the current year. Basically, what this represents is a reduction in the cost associated with updating of the website. As you will recall, last year we had a budget of $40,000. In that budget, or as a part of our negotiations, we were able to reduce that and carry that amount over a 3-year period, resulting in a fairly significant savings. Since that agreement was approved by the board, we also then transferred the annual fee related to Civic Plus, which is the web company that will host our website and maintain it for us. That has been transferred into the finance department and consolidated with the other IT-related items. Quite frankly, it makes it easier to find when you're working on it. And it is attributable to the areas in which we draw other monies from to service IT-related items. So that is the general admission budget. Again, that budget also reflects a previously approved increase in the SWALCO fee, which I believe is about $2,000 more than what we've seen in the past, and some other related membership fees and the like. The membership also sustains our membership with the Lake County Partners again for the next year at $1,100.
How many times a year do we send out the newsletter?
We don't send a newsletter anymore, Your Honor.
So, but we still have what? A budget on that?
No, sir, we do not.
What am I looking at then?
What we typically send
Page
out
157.
is the blast email that we do that goes out to the community for those people who subscribe to it. The newsletter does have a zero budget in it, but that's a carryover item that has been there for years.
So we just keep carrying over, what, about 13,000?
No, that's for general postage. That's for mailings.
Well, I'm looking at village newsletter.
Right.
Okay, okay, I see what
Yeah.
you're saying. Yeah, okay, fine.
Yep. So,
And then the postage.
Same as down, a little further down, typewriters is at a zero.
yeah, I don't think
Oh,
we
yeah.
bought one in a while. We're trying to,
I'm looking for, oh, yeah, I see unemployment paid for seasonal employees, 0. Okay.
moving right along then, the village manager's office budget represents an increase of 15.6% over the previous budget year. This is attributable to a couple things. Primarily, it is a consolidation and a reflection in some of the promotional materials that we use either through the Convention and Visitors Bureau or the Chamber activities that we do. Primarily, it relates to the kiosk program. As you know, we participate in a kiosk program that provides for information that's maintained at hotels, Tollway Oasis, and the like throughout the system, and it just advertises Vernon Hills as a place to come and shop and stay in a hotel and visit. We subscribe to a service. We also then provide the shopping cards for that. Typically, we reprint those cards about every 18 months, and we produce about 10,000 of them when we do that and provide them to this company who then distributes them for us. That card printing is shown in the printing budget this year for about $6,000. We've also consolidated in these budgets the advertising partnership monies that we do along with a map that we do with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And then finally, it also, again, reflects the holiday shopper mailing that we've done in the past, again, to advertise the holiday light show, shop in Vernon Hills over the holidays, et cetera, et cetera. And then the other items with regards to this budget, we've included under contract services a couple of things that have not shown up in the recent past. First is the charity luncheon, which we do for Alzheimer's. Traditionally, we have just taken that out of excess funds that we've had. We've actually created a budget item that will reflect the approximately $500 that we attribute to that. And then the other item is a request to reestablish the employee appreciation luncheon, which we eliminated, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe as much as 5 years ago. We'd like to reestablish that, again, have it down at the golf course. And this is a luncheon that's put on in a buffet-style setting that invites all the employees and the trustees to come and really kind of recognize all employees for their efforts over the previous year, and also, again, certain employees who've reached certain employment milestones. It's just a little way of saying thank you to the employees, and it was fairly it was well received when we had it, and it's something that we'd like to try to reestablish again. We don't anticipate giving any awards. It's just thank you for your efforts, thanks for your dedication, and here's a small token of our appreciation, which is the lunch itself. So, and we estimate that would be a not to exceed $2,000 luncheon that would be done at some point. So, the other item, just quickly, the passenger automobile amount has increased due to the acquisition of a new vehicle for the village manager, and that is reflected in the passenger automobile replacement fund contribution.
What page is that one on?
That would be page 162.
Okay. Hey, can I ask you, on the advertising, Are we doing the printing or are we just contributing?
We actually do the printing. We hire someone local and we do the printing and then we provide the cards to the kiosk company.
So that's a $27,000 budget?
No, the kiosk card printing is $6,000, the bottom of page 161. The kiosk program itself is a $900 amount that we pay to participate in that program. I mean, the overall advertising
Well,
budget.
What am I looking at up here? We're 520710, or, you know, where it says miscellaneous advertising, same page.
Right.
GL, is
That's-
that what we give to these groups?
Well, miscellaneous is something we may or may not take on unanticipated. The GMLV is the community guide. We contribute a proportionate share to that.
That's the advertising.
The advertising.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So the $10,000 for, who's this LCICVB partnership?
That's the Convention and Visitors Bureau. That's the program that we do over the holidays where we do the radio spot. We did actually advertising in with Metra. We did the billboards, the changeable LED billboards
But
along the toll.
Is that something we contribute to
Well,
a different organization other than us?
Yeah, we pay the Convention and Visitors Bureau because they do the legwork to put this program together. It's in conjunction with Visit Lake County.
yeah.
So we are a contributing member of that.
So three
But,
in the
but
park.
that is separate from the $10,000 that we do, which is a straightforward
Right.
contribution, which is in the general purpose budget.
Right.
Are you on here?
Why should it be?
Well, what page you
162.
on? Okay. Okay.
I mean,
Where you at, Jen?
that's all I have unless there are other questions. And then it's Larry's turn for finance, and then I'll come back with the cable budget. So,
Okay, the first item I'll bring your attention to is the IT equipment maintenance account, which is IT maintenance related to finance as well as IT maintenance for the village IT infrastructure, for, you know, basically the common components of the IT infrastructure. The main, that's going up about 10,500. The main reason there is the going from American Eagle to Civic Plus for the website maintenance. And you know, as I think John's explained, we're getting a better product, but it'll the maintenance costs will be higher on that. The next time I'd like to draw your attention to is training and conferences going up about 3,900.
What page, Landler?
Let me see, I'm on,
There's a lot of old people.
let's see, I'm on page 164.
Okay, which one?
The very bottom of the page, 520420, training and conferences.
Yeah.
And the main increase there is we're putting in $3,600 for some Kronos training. We want to broaden our training or the knowledge of Kronos within the department. I guess a slightly funny story, right before, about a month before our benefits specialist gave her notice, I told her she'd be doing this, so, anyway, we'll keep on working on it, I guess. Let me see. I will mention under auditing and management consulting, we have about 1,500 for our Human Resources Management Association. We're actually meeting with them next week to see if that's a worthwhile expenditure. Yeah. But, you know, for example, we're getting a lot of varying guidance on what the Affordable Care Act means for seasonal employees. So we think it's important to get a very knowledgeable opinion, definitive opinion, because it could end up saving us a lot to make the right decision on those staffing levels.
Yeah.
Next item I'd like to bring your attention to is surety bond, property and liability insurance on page 165. It's up about 36,000, or about 6.2%. And that's just kind of what our historical trend has been in that expenditure area.
Well, is that because of a couple of claims that are hanging in the balance still?
I think there's a lot of factors going on, and this year our claim history may be worse than it has been in recent years, so we'll see how that affects things. But there's also the fact that the pool had to draw into reserves for some major trends. There's the fact that we've increased, well, I know last year there was the effect of the cellular towers, and so various things over time have added.
Were
to
there
our-
any particular losses, though, that were factored in to, our increased premium?
One of the factors they consider is our loss history, though the discussions I've had with them is they do not consider the size of the loss as much as the frequency of the loss.
Yeah.
So I don't think the fact that we're having a couple of bad cases are really driving it. There may be it may be the extent to which we're having workers' comp situations and that type of thing that the level of it rather than the severity of it.
Larry, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable talking about this?
Let's put it this way. If you were talking to Jason, it would probably be a more productive discussion, but I can tell you what I've heard and what I think I understand.
Okay. Do we ever get a financial from, the municipal league?
Yes, we do.
Do we have a current one?
I'm not sure how current it
Can you
is. But
get a current?
yeah, I will get a current one.
Okay.
I thought it was more.
That'll give us something I can look at that would give us some indication on
Right,
their solvency,
right,
like the insurance carriers have to go through
Right.
with,
right,
surpluses and
right.
their ability to pay claims and,
Yeah.
reserves and all that
Larry,
stuff.
can I?
Because, I heard some,
Yeah.
because I heard some, rumors out there in the wacky world of insurance that these guys have had some, I guess some serious losses that, has affected the pricing.
Yeah, and it's
And-
not a rumor. It's the truth.
Well, could somebody feed
Well,
me
yeah,
some
we'll,
info? Or?
I've got an audit. I'm not sure how,
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the year ended. But I should say, Larry, this is an advertisement, a golden opportunity for someone on the board here that's knowledgeable about insurance. In October, they're changing the bylaws of IML, RMA, the Risk Management Agency, to allow well, they haven't even designated whether it has to be elected official, but
Just show up at the meeting?
no, not that. Well, yeah, you can. But non-board of directors can be board members. They have a split board of the RMA, the Risk Management Agency. So I know someone who's very knowledgeable about insurance that might be interested in getting involved in
So
that
how does
board.
one, pray tell, get involved? Do we
Well,
have to?
well, they haven't decided that yet, what they're gonna do yet, but in the next meeting, they're gonna have a meeting in May in Springfield, which I think I'm gonna go to, and they'll be talking about how they,
Well, let me know
change the
what day in May.
Constitution.
Maybe I'll go.
yeah. So, and
Because
be a
I'm sure
member,
they'll still be in session.
Right, yeah, that's probably true. Well, what they're gonna try to do is, I know this sounds logical, I think it's actually most of the mayors who are on the board of directors are not RMA communities. So you got the irony of a group of 48 mayors, you can imagine what that room.
They're not all in.
They're
usually
not,
just-
most of them aren't in RMA. So, they make decisions for the risk management agency. So now they're finally doing it, in my opinion, the right way. The whole board of directors, you will have a stake in the organization. You'll be
Okay.
a member of it. So that would give
Towns
you,
that are actually in it.
yeah.
Okay.
Quite a few of the mayors are, I'd say like 18 to 20 are in RMA out of the 48 or whatever it is. There's quite a few that are, but quite a few that aren't.
Right.
So,
Okay.
But getting back to your original point, there is no question that they had some severe losses, and they went through a period of where they purged a number of their members who they felt weren't living up to the standards of the pool. And, I mean, that's a fact, and everybody's reserve contributions went up because of that. So, I mean, that's
Okay,
that's
but-
more than rumor.
So there were some member communities that were obviously blowing up the program.
Right, right.
Yeah, all
And
right.
they felt like they identified them and got them out of the program.
Do we know who they were?
Uh,
Is that top
I-
secret?
It's not something they're very forthcoming on. At one point, I remember a couple of them, but you know what,
Okay,
I guess
okay.
it got other stuff filled my head with,
Yeah.
right now I can't think of them.
All right, what else do you want to go over, Larry?
Final item is the information technology equipment line, which is on page 166. And this really, from after FY '08-09, we really made this a bare bones budget. We've filled gaps over the years, you know, when we've identified savings in other accounts and had to buy equipment. And we're doing some of that right now. We're buying a storage area network out of the current budget, which will help police more efficiently store data. But the major initiative for next year, this budget is going up to about 30,000 from about 10,000. And the major initiative next year is to convert from GroupWise to Google. We're also going to add Google's archiving software and basically, do a better job of archiving, which was an increasingly important issue, because of freedom of information and those type things. We're also adding about $6,000 for some digital boards, which will help our what would you say, our 13-year-old phone system act more like a digital phone system. And that'll, there are some issues at the police department should go away once our phone system is more digitized. That's a question if Jim Dunning would be able to answer that one better than I could too.
Why
but-
isn't he here tonight?
I guess I drew the short straw, I don't know.
One question I've got.
Yes.
We've got these part-time seasonal salaries. I know we lost a person, and we haven't refilled that spot yet.
Right.
And it's my understanding that person left to get a full-time job, and she also had excellent skills that were really desirable. Does that kind of foretell that we may need to be looking at a full-time person as opposed to filling it with a part-timer to ensure that we get the appropriate skill sets?
You know, if it was the right skill set, I don't think we have enough work for a full-timer if it was purely an HR person. But if it was, say, HR, Kronos, payroll, that might be the case. We feel like we have some really good candidates right now. We're in the process of recruiting And so we're hopeful, but again, I might say something about Kronos and they'll leave 4 weeks later or something, but
Right.
with my luck and personality, that happens. So.
Not gonna
I was
touch
gonna
that.
ask, what did he just say?
You don't wanna.
It was somewhat, something self-effacing,
Yeah.
you know, which that's nice, but, okay.
And then, Your Honor, the final budget is the cable studio budget, which is projected to decrease 12.2% over the previous budget year. As you can see, we continue under contractual services to continue to use a combination of Mike Stordo, our cable coordinator, along with a number of part-timers who serve in various roles. Brandel Communication also provides assistance with monthly programming that we do throughout the year. The budget also reflects some decreases in supplies, acquisition of supplies. I don't think Mike's buying tapes anymore, so that's a good thing, assuming you can still get them. And some reductions in the preventive maintenance budget that we have. And then finally, under equipment, we continue to maintain a budget number in there in case we run into problems with our audio system. We're pushing 12 years now on this system, and we've replaced the microphones and the like, but we're looking at, potential some deck replacements through them ceasing to work more than anything else. So we've maintained that $5,000 in there just as a contingency more than anything else, and it will not get spent unless there's a problem with the system itself. So, so with that, I can answer any questions, and if I can't, Mike can dial in from the heavens, so to speak, and answer the question. Again, the total administration budget is $2,065,193, which again is a projected increase of 4.3 over the current year's budget.
Are there any questions or comments from the board? If not, is there a motion to approve this year's administrative budget of $2,065,193?
So made.
Second?
Motion is second. Roll call.
Trustee Cook.
Aye.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
Aye.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Hebda.
Aye.
Mayor Byrne.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, committee budget summary.
The committee budgets for this year is projected to be $30,375, which is a 31% decrease over the previous year's budget. Honestly, the budgets for the committees, with the exception of the seniors, are not going to change. We don't anticipate any additional meetings or the like that would necessitate additional costs. The senior budget is projected to decrease by about $13,000. This reflects the installation of carpet from past year. The carpet went in for about, I think, $16,000. We've also included in the senior budget about $3,000 with the anticipation of probably painting the space. Again, it has the original paint from when we moved into the building, 11 plus years ago. So with that, I can answer any questions. And if not, again, the budget is $30,375.
Are there any comments or questions from the board on this? Is there a motion to approve?
So made.
Second?
Motion is second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
Aye.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Hebda.
Aye.
Trustee Cook.
Aye.
Mayor Byrne.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. We have,
See, judiciary.
judiciary budget,
Item V.
B. Okay.
V is in Vernon, and we're looking at a $330,000 budget, which is really the same as what we originally had budgeted last year. We've obviously had some some legal activity this year that has driven those costs up. But we're hopeful that by early in FY 13-14, we're through the worst of that, and we should return to a more normal level of expenditure. You know, this is one of those accounts that are budgets that's very hard to predict, but we think we'll be past our the factors that are driving our costs up, you know, in the next 2-3 months.
Okay, any comments or questions on this? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion is second, roll call, please.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
Aye?
Trustee Williams. Trustee Hebda.
Aye.
Trustee Cook.
Aye.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Mayor Byrne.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, next is the president and trustee budget.
The budget this year is projected to increase 6.5% over the previous year. The total budget for this item is $75,168. The budget this year increases or reflects the salary increases for the president and trustees, which were approved previously. It also reflects some slight increases in lodging costs and per diem, related to possible attendance for the IML conference. And that's it.
Okay, any comments or questions on this one? If not, motion to approve, and we have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Schwartz.
Aye?
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Hebda.
Aye.
Trustee Cook.
Aye.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Schultz.
I vote aye, however, I again suggest that we only spend 700 or 600 of the 700 on candy.
Mayor Byrne.
Can I vote on this? You know, I'm kind of sitting here. I guess I can, right? All right, aye.
And we will definitely, we're anticipating an
Oh.
increase in the candy costs, so your concern has been reflected in that.
Okay, motion carries. All right,
I don't
and
have
then
any
we
dog
have,
biscuits. No dog biscuits.
there's dog biscuits, I assume in there. Tax increment fund budget.
Right, that's item X, and that's $884,122. Almost all of that is debt service. This is a 19.2% increase. We'll be retiring, making our first principal payment to retire $90,000 of principal in the tax increment district. We also, under the reserve requirement, the bond covenant requirements, have the requirement to, whatever our debt service goes up, we increase the amount into the early redemption fund by 30% of that. So together, that's about $117,000. That's most of the increase there. And that's really, at this point, essentially what's going on in the tax increment fund is we're basically paying off interest and beginning to retire principal.
If I understand this right, we're going to take in 1,320,000.
Right.
But we're only going to pay out 884.
Right, that's correct. And-
Why don't we pay out more with regard to retiring the principal earlier?
We really, the way our bonds are structured, we don't have we don't have, let me answer that in several ways. The first way is, the way our bonds are structured, we do not have the ability to prepay. We will be able to prepay on the 2007 bond at 102% of par beginning December of 2015 and 100% of par at 2017. I think that's something we're definitely going to take advantage of because we can get a better interest rate, less restrictive covenants. So that's one direction. And to the extent we can save funds for that, we should. To the extent we can, we also have $2.2 million of loans that were made to the TIF, 1.1 million from the general fund, 1.1 million from the replacement fund. So we can use some of those funds to repay some of those loans. And ultimately, in the future, if the TIF revenue stream, our principal payments goes something like what would you call it, kind of a very sharp slope, increasing slope. So at some point, if we don't have enough current TIF revenues coming in, we're going to have to make more loans to the TIF.
And,
So
and these dollars they're set aside in a separate fund, or they're set aside in a separate account?
Well, right now, the process is they go to the trustee of the 2007 senior lien bond. They take all the money they need under the covenants, including the early redemption fund where they save that. Then they set aside what they need for the junior lien debt service and expenses. Then they send the rest back to us, where we can either leave it in the TIF account where it is right now, the TIF fund, or we actually have the option, and it may make sense to do this. I'm going to decide this between now and April 30th, whether it actually makes more sense to use those funds to pay back the general fund what it's advanced. Again, with the idea that someday the general fund may have to make a loan back to the TIF, but it might as well go to the general fund now, and that's kind of what I think I'm going to be proposing.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay, well, and superimposed and, this particular budget, what portion of the TIF bonded indebtedness did we refinance?
Well, we refinanced almost $8 million in 2012. So basically, right now, we have just shy of $15 million of bonds outstanding. We have the senior lien bond, which we issued in 2007, which is purely a revenue bond. And then we have the junior lien bond, which we issued in February of 2012, which is actually a GO bond. And that had actually an interest rate of about 2% compared to the other one that had an interest rate. The senior lien bond had an interest rate of about 7%, but it was highly speculative at that time.
Right.
So that's why will make a lot of sense when we can to refinance the $7 million on the senior lien bond.
Is that a GO or revenue?
The senior lien bond is purely a revenue bond, and not only was it a revenue
What's
bond.
the interest we're paying on that one?
On the senior lien is about 7%, and the junior lien is about 2%, but the junior lien has the GO backing, and it was also issued at a very good time.
Right.
The senior lien was issued before there was a TIF, essentially, so it was a very, very speculative bond.
What do you think, so when can we do the refi on that?
Well, we can pay off the principal at 102. So for every $1 million, we'd have to pay $1,020,000 to redeem it and refinance it. We can do that at the end of 2015, or essentially at the end of 2017, we can do it at a price of 100. So for every $1 million we refinance, we'd only have to pay $1 million. It's really going to be a financial calculation. Will the savings in interest rates be enough to pay a 2% premium at the end of 2015? It's a 1% premium end of 2016, and as I say, no premium at the end of 2017. So it'll probably make sense at the end of 2015. But
we have to wait.
We have to wait. There's
Yeah,
nothing we can do before then.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the board on this? So you're looking for approval of $884,122?
Yes.
So made.
Okay, motion, is there a second? Any further comments or questions? If not, roll call.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Hebda.
Aye.
Trustee Cook.
Aye.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
Aye.
Mayor Byrne.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, is there any further business we need to discuss budgetarily?
Well, do you want us to try to go through the ones,
Dave?
that we skipped, or do you want to just wait for Dave next week? It's up to you. I mean, some of them are pretty straightforward. Yeah, I was gonna get to that, but,
Are we
You
doing
wanna-
that this week or next week? The grant?
it's up to you, the social service grants. I would suggest you take a look at them, have a discussion, and then you can finalize it next week or beginning of April.
Well, we got a meeting next week, right?
Right,
Okay, and then we don't have a meeting the last week.
correct. Well, we won't need one unless
Right,
you,
right.
yeah.
If I
So-
can make a comment, though,
Yeah.
I will not be here next week. I have to be out of town on business. But with that being said, I am fine with what we have proposed here so that you at least have my thoughts concerning the social service grants. And I am very fine with the 19,000 that is here. So I just wanted to put that forward.
Okay.
Where's the fund to fix the heating and air? Cold? It's freezing in here. Even he's cold.
Yeah.
Well, we're all cold.
We're all little. I,
At least it's not
The air
raining.
is blowing on the back of my legs.
Let-
It's so cold. My legs
We're just gonna get codes.
Is this
cold.
trustee Hebda?
I just wanted to ask how the vote went for resolution 2013-033.
Unanimous.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna send it.
I just wanted to go on record, since I wasn't able to vote on it, that I'm also supportive of this resolution.
Yeah, this is
So,
special.
yes. Yes, so I just want to make sure that that gets noted too, that I would have supported had I been here, but had another commitment to work, so.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. Trustee Cook?
I just had one question on the service grants one, the doubling of the University of Illinois Extension. I still wonder, what exactly is the benefit to the community of that?
I think they promote material, and it's the extension, and I think it's, as I recall, I'm trying my best here, has to do with agriculture, insects, information, say on the Emerald Ash Borer, things like that type of
But
thing.
again, I don't really see why that needs to be doubled, but
They do make mailings to our residents, because we receive one concerning tips on gardening and things of that nature.
and that constitutes doubling the amount we're giving them.
Well, I think we cut their amount back in half last year, so they're just going back to their standard request that they had in years past, if I'm,
I think that, yeah, it's been a few years you cut them back,
Right.
that number. And I should note on here, obviously, the Y's not
Oh,
on
it's
here. That's
not
a
there.
big difference, of
Alright.
course. And then the other one is Fresh Start. We just haven't heard from them. I know they're still, that's the Job Networking Group. They're still very active. I get their emails all the time. So Lynn
I'm-
has contacted them and.
Everyone else is fine with the doubling the extension, or? Because if you are, I mean, I don't mind.
I'm not, I would much rather see that money get put towards some education when we talk
Yeah.
about like the issues at the high school with, some of that stuff. I'd rather put monies into those areas of education versus putting it into the extension. Like if we needed to have another drug awareness program or whatever and they needed funds for that, I'd much rather do that along with the Girl Scouts. As well, I know that they get some, but I'd rather see some of that money go towards some of those other pressing issues as we read stuff in the papers.
Actually, I would probably agree with that, because
Yeah.
I think the drug scene now
Yeah,
is
I mean, I just think that that's
factor.
worthy of, if,
Yeah, well,
Well,
but,
we've
stepping
got
away
the-
from the curb here, these guys do they get involved in other disease processes that could affect plant life in trees and so on and so forth in the county?
Yeah,
the
you know, I'm not
extension, or am I
absolutely sure.
They're-
being
they're-
I
misled?
think they do that kind of
I just
field work, that's their mission.
Don't have any contact with them, that's
Yeah.
why I was.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
maybe,
from what I've
well,
read-
that one I would defer maybe to Dave Brown,
Okay,
you know,
see what he can
Well,
work
we're
out
not-
for us.
because I thought there was a couple, one of those brochures. Who generated that one, the brochure on the Emerald Ash Borer?
Yeah, I'm not sure, well, as you can imagine, there's so many agencies generating information
know.
on that,
Morton.
so,
Morton Arboretum.
yeah,
and the
that was one of
Arboretums.
them, and
Was
then
it?
there's a couple others, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the extension is more towards growing foodstuffs. Commercially is their primary area of expertise,
Are they
but
doing
also.
Right,
work?
and that's my point. I mean, we do have so many commercial gardens here in town that I just was
Well, are
wondering.
are they actually, you know, studying the bee colonies and how, you know, what, I mean,
They probably are.
yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I want to cut them out completely.
Yeah, well, and
No,
the other
no, I
thing
don't-
is, you
Didn't,
know,
I didn't say that.
No,
I'll
just
stay
keep
with
it
the 500 from
500,
last
yeah.
year.
and we've
fine with me.
reduced the budget by, you know, at least the Y amount, because, and now so if you think about it, that's the funds that we have available to
Right.
us
I understand.
quite
it, but
readily
I'm still
to
500
support
most for
drug
them
programs
because we
and
can find
others.
someplace better for the community to give it to. I agree with
Or
Trustee
do
Hebda.
you think there's somebody on this list that wants to
Missing?
come in and plead their case, you know?
That's not on the list?
No, somebody that's on the list
On the
as to,
Yes, for that.
Oh,
We're pretty much giving them what they're.
well,
asking.
Serenity House kicked
Okay.
their request up.
Yeah.
Could be a little more.
all right, well, we'll just finish up on this next Tuesday.
And I'm good with Serenity House.
I'm just reading, you know, to give you some instant information. The University of Illinois Extension, as Trustee Schultz mentioned, they have like master gardener volunteers. They have commercial, as Trustee Schultz mentioned, a whole bunch of commercial agriculture things, like distance diagnostics. Diagnosis and identification of your plant and pest problems. And then they have manure control, Manure Central. Private applicator training, they do certification training. They have, they do some regulatory things with agriculture and horticulture. And then they have crop advisors, so a good chunk of it's from our agricultural past, I'm sure, in Lake County, that they have a extension here.
Which again, I reiterate,
Yeah, okay.
Well,
Why don't we,
why don't we get some publications, I can send them to you, and then you can see what they do, and that might
Right.
be, okay. And then anything else, we'll follow up with Fresh Start
yeah,
to see, and then we'll have the rest of the budget next week.
yeah.
The other.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn the committee of the whole?
So made.
Second?
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Hebda.
Aye.
Trustee Cook.
aye?
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
Aye.
Mayor Byrne.
All right, motion carries. Thank you and good night.